Okay, let me dive right into my favorite subject, which is slinging cards. Okay, we are going to start with a card deck here. You don't even have to, if you're not interested in the animal deck, right, which we'll get into, but if you're not interested, we can start with Uno. This is all about developing a system. You can call it God, you can call it universe, you can call it vibrations, you could call it space, you can call it nothing. Regardless of what you call it, and regardless of what you believe, it's still there. As that falls out of my hand. Energy is energy, okay? And so the cards, when they flip up, so when I'm trying to be accurate as possible, I don't let my cards fly. I actually have a system of how I pull them, because somebody could walk by while I'm doing a reading, or somebody could be on a walk in the house in front of us, and a card will flip because their energy reaches the card and the card flips out. And so that can be very misleading in readings when you're trying to get as much accuracy as possible. And the way for people to understand that, I will just show you really quickly. If you want to understand what I'm talking about with that, you can get a Lenormand or a Kipper deck, because when you start slinging these cards like this, something like a dog will walk by and the dog card will come out. Or like when you have the small enchanted little Lenormand, it's a small one. It actually has dark skin and light skin people in it. And so when a black man walks by and the black man card comes out, right? Or I mean, it's scary. And so that's when I realized, oh, this has nothing to do with connecting with spirituality, because that was not on my radar. I'm just like, I'm psychic, but what does that mean? Because I always associated it with spirituality. It has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with vibration. I practice, right? I practice. This is what I do, and I work for private interested parties. I have been for quite a while, right? And I've gone into some pretty gnarly places and been around some pretty gnarly people, and I've been able to hone and develop my psychic skills, right? So this is not something that just, obviously it was natural, right? And the people are like, oh, how are you doing that? I'm like, you're the people that made me this psychic. You know why? Because when you were doing terrible things to me, I went off into my little and talked to all of my imaginary friends, which happen to be my guides that have been, basically. So anyways, neither here nor there. Let's get back to the subject. Do you want to have a relationship with your cards? Okay, so this is a great experiment for you. I want you to go ahead and get an Uno deck. Okay, and I won't even say a regular card deck, because I've learned with a regular playing card deck, those cards actually have intention that were put into them, and they will act accordingly. So if you know, I'm like, this is getting too long. Okay, so let's focus on Uno. I want you to, basically, we're going to do a yes/no system, and you can write this down. In fact, I encourage you to write this down. And I also encourage you to take out all of the draw twos and the reverses and the skips. Everything, I would even say I would take everything out of the deck other than draw fours, the big fatty draw fours, and the regular, and I would take out, I'd probably keep the zeros. Yeah, I would say use the zeros as a neutral. So what you're going to do, so that basically leaves you with numbers and the big fat draw four. This card and numbers only. Any other card that has writing on it or anything like that, pitch it, okay? Then I want you to determine whether odd numbers are yes, or even numbers or yes, and whichever you choose and you're more comfortable, right? When I was a flight attendant, I wouldn't take a room that wasn't an odd number. I would never, the two times I was forced to stay and even like shit hit the fan, talking about like hotel fire, I always had this, like, I needed to be in an odd numbered room. It was kind of crazy, but anyways, we're going to have to continue this.